I wrote a hypothesis a long time ago because I always said that the human being is weak and it is not possible to make the mind work with an empty mind. I used to think a lot in this way. What is there naturally to help a person use his mind better? At first I assumed that there might be files in memory ready as information. Of course, I meant regular memory. But I changed my mind after thinking. For me, memory is built from systems, not shaped by humans with a combination of topics and the first combination. The person learns language, nutritional information, sleep, movement, and guidance. I analyze the issues of nerve cells. And after many brainstorming concepts and integration of mental maps as a model of understanding and programming, a person moves on it automatically when he needs this information. Of course, for me, there are retinal systems linked to a biological clock and its alarms. I don't explain the story of the biological clock. I want to talk about the central rules in neurons that exist naturally. Of course, this is not science fiction, but only from my analysis of topics that occur in reality. The story is not that there are only rules. Is he unable to access the central rules and use them? Develop his ability to analyze and produce a neuron with a high control system? The drawing shows my perception of when a person processes high energy information and reaches the digital sequence required to begin. This is equivalent to a sequence with the central rules in nerve cells, which are like very complex algorithms in the form of intertwined nodes. The purpose of which is advanced systems and the laws of the equation that a person must solve in order to raise energy and produce a new nerve cell. High control system. For me, it is basically the way the mind processes information with complex digital sequences that a human being cannot solve, but a human being can know the laws of the equation. As a person achieves a higher understanding of a particular subject during education, his ability in analysis and control system improves. Therefore, when I reach an understanding of a topic, I am able to solve a complex problem regarding the basic central rule in cells and discover a new law that makes me able to produce a result in energy higher than before in a new nerve cell. The meaning is that the network system has been completed and a digital sequence with high energy has been formed. This digital sequence is in the form of a network system and the branches give digital sequences that are intertwined with an equal number of nodes from many complex systems. But their goal is to raise the person's energy and abilities in the mental processing systems. Imagine the first, but after the processing system is interconnected with a power-compatible system. Nothing like that. In general, for me, the central rules are laws of equations that solve a problem. So that everything that comes from a person's processing of what reaches the required digital sequence is considered data only for what is intertwined with the nodes that are its result. I mean, I get data that is equal to the result in the central rules, and after the entanglement, the solution law for this problem comes out. Then the law is formed in the form of a circle, which now passes through the motor device that expresses the new information control system. The circuit includes the processing numbers that I processed during mental operations. And this expresses the central system, which is the law of the method of processing information until I reach double the energy and produce new neurons with high energy in processing information. Then the circuit is treated with the same thing in the network form and branches, but the law that I created explains the method of processing and solving large numbers until it reaches the million. But I calculated it. My calculation method was quick assumptions, but the process that occurs for processing is certain of its concept. But the number that I need to arrive at as energy I want to change because it depends on the beginning of processing information in memory. It was just a concept and I will develop it. We all know how our abilities increase. Of course. The words of mathematical geniuses and the same people who transform universal interpretations or meanings of laws and solve this difficult problem are true. For me, The concept of high intelligence is similar to the way information is processed in the mind and the one who solves mathematical problems quickly and solves new and difficult mathematical problems. Likewise, the concept of stronger intelligence is the one who produces mental programs as algorithms and systems and translates them mathematically. Likewise, the model of true intelligence in the mind, the final model of what I have drawn, resembles the engines in the picture. The last branches express information movement systems, with the small circuit expressing the control system and intent after processing numbers that reach the result in the circuit. Of course, these are just old and preliminary perceptions. And for me, this is the new system in the nerve cell that will process information faster, more accurately, and more intelligently. These are my old perceptions. And I will modify this perception because it contains some truth and only needs improvement. How many months ago did you include this meaning? The first meaning of neurons was to preserve the retinal system for the processing that occurred as a continuation of mental processing, and when it was completed, it was programmed into the biological clock as a system that automatically moves neurons through stimuli, and therefore the cells would be in a state of concentration. I said that something is not true. How do you mean cells store information? Sure, everyone says I went crazy, but I explain with logic and use my analysis and observations. Of course, as I read, I see that it was basically discovered, but I am the only one who interpreted it as such. I have an explanation that it has network systems that enter into a biological clock and are also used as data to disassemble part of complex algorithmic systems and produce laws that solve a problem and form a high-level control system. A person must give himself the opportunity to express, and I do not interrupt my thinking horizons with anything. I analyze what I observe and live in thought to create magic. What I'm thinking about most now is how much energy is required in neurons to produce a higher energy neuron. I think about the story before, but the number of cells is related. But I knew that I needed more information to come up with other concepts and connect them and say that the calculation needs something else. Today, I just thought that it is possible for everyone to renew their cells at the same time, but the energy is different. Time in the mind always expresses speed, and I expect the speed of light, so that it expresses the capabilities of the mind. High perception for me is like neurons because neurons are the source of high awareness. It is possible to renew it with everyone at the same time. But even though he is the person who has high energy and is allowed to do other reactions at a higher level to produce a higher energy system, despite the double treatment, he renews at the same time with all people. I think at this moment we know that very smart people process faster, meaning in a shorter time. So I think there is a time-related story in this equation that gives less processing time. He produced a neuron that processed quickly in a short time. I am thinking at this moment, what is the thing that makes time less? Of course, I let the topic of time be analyzed until I arrive at and understand whether there is anything specific related to time and enter something into the visualization of an equation.